Hello, I'm Jordan Midler and welcome to Raj Quit, a show about video games. This week it's a show about predicting the future of video games. Get ready to unplug your PS4 and throw it directly into the nearest canal. PlayStation 5 is coming. This caused slightly sweaty people across the globe to freak out about what new feature or what new game they're going to be paying slightly too much for a year from now. Well, why speculate when you can say with 100% certainty what's going to happen? I'm sure none of these predictions will age like PS1 Ron Weasley. 1. The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima will come to PS5 near launch. Let me get started with what is essentially a freebie. The PS4 isn't going out without a fight, with some of the last big games being released for the system being the ones that people bought the thing for in the first place. There is no doubt that these PlayStation exclusives will do well, even if Death Stranding makes about as much sense as if you asked David Lynch to remake Inception. But why would Sony leave even more money on the table when they can sell a shinier version of the same game with a deluxe edition slapped on for PS5? What makes this a bit trickier is that with backwards compatibility, Sony will have to come up with something to make people double dip. But remember, this is the company that convinced people to part with almost £100 for a tiny wee grey box filled with about 20 ROM hacks, so I have faith in their ability. Ghost of Tsushima doesn't even have a release date, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Sony push the game all the way to the launch of PS5 so that the system can start off with a great title from an established studio and not the tech demo meme that was Knack or the fake game you see in a TV show that was Killzone Shadowfall. 2. Streaming won't be anywhere near as big as people think. For some reason, money. The games industry seems to have an absolute raging stonner for the idea of streaming games. In theory it's a great idea, no more boxes on shelves, no more waiting for downloads, seamless transitions from screen to screen. But the problem with this utopian dream is that most people don't have the means to spend £1,000 a month on a business connection to make it work. Unless your internet is banging, then trying to stream a game is like trying to watch a YouTube video on 1 bar of 3G. It's a bloody, stuttery mess that looks like it's being beamed straight from the melted Lego dimension. PlayStation 5 will no doubt try its hand at streaming, building on the laughably mishandled PS Now, but it's just not the time. I have moderate internet and it still feels like any time my PS4 needs to update I could walk the West Highland Way in the time it takes to download. 3. PS VR 2 will be a massive improvement, but VR won't become mainstream. The original PS VR is an incredible bit of kit for the price. It's obviously lacking in the processing power of the PC headsets, but considering it was completely hamstrung by the decade-old PS Move technology, it's practically a miracle that 5 seconds with the thing doesn't make you whitey your own hips out. With PS5 on the horizon, I don't think it will be long before Sony announces a new, sleek bit of plastic to strap to your face. The ultimate accessory for those who want to be robbed in their own home, the PSVR 2 will take a massive leap graphically away from the PS3-ish graphics of the current model and a monumental leap away from the mid-50s technology of the dreadful PlayStation Move. New controllers, better tracking and compatibility with the shed-load of PSVR titles already available would make it a pretty tasty prospect, but it still won't be the thing to push VR into the mainstream. People want to play games with a controller. People also want to sit on their couch. People want the option to look at memes on Twitter during boring cutscenes. When VR is done correctly in games like Res Infinite, Superhot and Tetris Effect, it's a genuinely better experience than playing those games on a regular TV. But the games that people traditionally play on consoles just aren't suited to it. And that's fine. Please Sony, don't make Bloodborne 2 a VR corridor shooter. I think I'd rather gaff the cleric beast. Speaking of, 4. Bloodborne 2 will release within a year of launch. If you believe Bloodborne fans, then games might as well have stopped coming out after the release of the Souls-adjacent gothic epic. And to be honest, they might have a point. If you were to create a list of the top 5 games on any platform this generation, Bloodborne would have to be in there. The other 4 being FIFA 14, 15, 16 and 17. But it's been a good few years now, and there's been another game released in the Souls, Blood, Darkborn, Die Twice universe, and still no mention of Bloodborne 2. This seems like such a tap-in for PS5. As a launch exclusive it would be incredible, but with Ghost of Tsushima already launching then in this fantasy version of the future that will without doubt come true, it's probably a better idea to launch it about a year after the initial release. For the last few years we've known about what Sony's big first party games were. It's been God of War, The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima. That means we're way past due for a ton of big announcements about what is next. What is the other team at Naughty Dog working on? When will Guerrilla announce Horizon 2? Will Sony throw another bucket of cash at Kojima to render his next fever dream? We'll soon find out. 5. The console wars are over. Long live the console wars. To finish, we're going to go with more of an abstract one. This generation, PlayStation annihilated the Xbox One. Not just in terms of games, which when you compare libraries is like comparing a $2 steak to a supermarket owned gammon, but in terms of messaging from the beginning. Christ, the Xbox One couldn't have had a worse launch if every box came with a free sample of smallpox. But since Xbox put cool dad Phil Spencer in the driver's seat, the Rock's favourite console has been turning it around. They've been doing this by not trying to compete with the PS4, but to move into services. They launched Game Pass, which is such a good value for money, you might as well be wearing a black and white striped jumper while you use it. They made all their first party games available on PC, and they introduced things like the adaptive controller, which they've admitted doesn't make them any money, but they just wanted more people to play games, which is about as sound as a corporation can be. With Nintendo off doing their own weird thing as usual, and Xbox going after a different market, I don't see a return to the neck and neck competition that the end of the 360 generation brought us. And while that is a good thing, because people that like to dress up as the Joker and see him as a bit of a hero will have one less thing to harass people about online, competition between big companies spurs developers to make better games. I foresee a tighter race than last time, but if Sony continues to pump out the brilliant exclusives and doesn't do anything wild like require an online connection or force you to play with a pre-owned Wiimote, I think they'll continue to be top dogs. Not that it matters, I have all three, but that's mostly because I'm irresponsible with money. 6. Skate 4 will finally come out. I know I said I was only doing 5, but it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Skate 4 will finally release on the PlayStation 5 and it will be just as good as I want it to be. It will solve everything. It will solve Brexit. It will solve the Da Vinci Code. It will solve global warming. It is going to be the greatest game of all time and it's going to release on PlayStation 5. It's got to. They can't not release it. Skate 3 sold so many and so many people like Skate. We keep tweeting about it. Keep hashtag Skate 4. It's got to happen. Anyway, those are a few of my predictions for what's going to happen on PlayStation 5. Let me know yours in the comments below. I'm sure none of these will come true, apart from Skate 4, but that's part of the fun. Until next time, remember to subscribe to BBC The Social Gaming. I'm Jordan Midler. See you later.